Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah. Uh, Yesterday we started with the graphs. You understood the different terminologies and the graph, types of graph, undirected graph and directed graph. Directed graph, you can also call it as digraph. And then you understood what is a connected graph is, and then the degrees of the nodes, and then what is strongly connected component, and then disconnected graph, and then what is simple path and what is a cycle. Okay, all these things you understood. And then what is a subgraph, and then what is a path, and what is a self edge, and what is a multigraph. So a graph which contains multiple occurrences of the same edge, we call it as a multigraph. And then what is an adjacent? You understood the term adjacent and incident. Okay, then you understood complete graph. What is incomplete graph? Well, these are all few important terminologies with respect to the graph what we understood in the previous class. So now continuing our discussion. So we wrote the graphs, and we wrote the in degrees and out degrees of the node, and then we also checked whether they are complete graph, incomplete graph, connected graph, strongly connected graph. All these things we did. But when it comes to the question of representing the graphs within the computer system, now how do we represent it? How to represent either an undirected graph or a directed graph within a computer? So to represent the undirected and directed graphs within the computer system, we require the matrix. So and that matrix that we use in order to represent the graph, either the undirected graph or the directed graph, so we call it as an adjacency matrix. So that is one way of representing the graphs within the computer system. So by using the adjacency matrix, you can go for successfully representing both the directed as well as undirected graph. So and another way of representing the graph is by using the adjacency list. So I don't want to make use of the matrix, so then I can go for even representing the graphs by using the adjacency list also. List we have already understood. So a single what is that? Singly linked list, circular singly linked list, doubly linked list. These are all the different types of list what we have understood. Now you can even go for representing the graphs by using the concepts of lists as well. And not only just one single list, so you can also go for representing the graphs by using the multi lists also. Okay, so these are the three ways through which you can go for representing a graph within a computer system. Now we are going to understand each one of them in detail, how to represent a graph using the adjacency matrix. So that is what we will see now. Now before we look into how the adjacency matrix is written, okay, so a basic theory behind it. So you know how a graph is represented. So graph is represented like this: G is equal to V comma E, where V is the set of vertices and E is the set of edges, and that is nothing but a graph. Okay, so be a graph with how many vertices? N vertices. Okay, now the adjacency matrix for this graph G is a two-dimensional n by n array. So when I say matrix, you know it is of the order n by n, and we can call that matrix. We will give a name to that matrix, and what we are giving is adj underscore mat. So adjacency matrix. Okay, so adjacency matrix, it's a two-dimensional array of the order n by n rows and n columns, and we are calling it as an adjacency matrix. This is what the name I am assigning now. Now, if the edge vi, vj is in the set of edges which belongs to the graph G, then we add 1. So the corresponding element inside the adjacency matrix is made as 1. Say from the vertex Vi to vertex Vj, if there exists an edge in the set of edges that belongs to the graph G, so then we make the corresponding row and column value inside the matrix as 1. Okay, so this I is the row and j is the column. The corresponding row and column value will be set to 1, and what this 1 indicates is, this 1 indicates there exists a path from the vertex Vi to vertex Vj. So this is how we can go for representing an edge inside a 2D array or a 2-dimensional array of the order n by n. And similarly, if there is no such edge in the graph, okay, if there is no such edge in the set of edges which belongs to the graph G, then we make it as 0, and this 0 indicates that, so from the vertex Vi to the vertex Vj there is no path, okay, or there is no edge. Okay, so this is how you can go for simply representing the graph using an adjacency matrix. Wherever there is an edge between the vertex to some vertex, that inside the adjacency matrix we are going to represent it by 1, and wherever there is no edge between the vertices we are going to represent it by 0. The adjacency matrix for undirected graph is symmetric. Okay, for undirected graph, whenever you write an adjacency matrix, it is always symmetric. I hope you people know what is the meaning of symmetric is. If you are going to fold the matrix along the diagonal, it should coincide. That is what is the symmetric behavior is. Now, whenever you are writing an adjacency matrix for an undirected graph, so it is always symmetric, and the adjacency matrix when you are writing for the directed graph need not be symmetric always, and sometimes it can be symmetric also. It depends on the directed graph, but in adjacency matrix for the directed graph it need not be symmetric all the time, but for the undirected graph the adjacency matrix is always symmetric. Okay, now with this input, next what we are going to see is how the adjacency matrix is written for the various graphs. So I have 3 graphs here, G1, G2 and G4. So G1 is one graph. Let me make it bigger. So G1 is one graph, G2 is another graph, and G4 is one more graph. And this is the graph even which we understood in the previous class. So this is a not connected graph. So one graph, but it is not connected, or you can say the graph which is not connected. Okay, now here I have the example, and for this undirected graph, this is the adjacency matrix. Okay, now let me write here the row numbers. Okay, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and here 0 again, 1, 2, 3. Now this is easy, and how we are writing this as per this convention. Okay, if there exists an edge from the vertex Vi to Vj, we represent it by 1. If there is no such edge existing between the vertex Vi to Vj, then we the corresponding element inside the adjacency matrix is made as 0. Now here 0 to 0, since there is no cell flow for the cell plate for 0, so we write it as 0 because there is no cell flow. Okay, so cell flow for the self edge is not present for the matrix, this node, so it is 0. And then 0 to 1, is there edge existing from the vertex 0 to 1, there is an edge existing from the 0 to 1, it is marked as 1. And similarly 0 to 1 is also there, 0 to 2 is also there, it is marked as 1. 0 to 3 also an edge exists, so it is again marked as 1. Next, when I take 1 to 0, 1 to 0 also the edge exists, and 1 to 2, 1 to 1. 1 to 1, since there is no self edge at the self loop for 1, it is marked as 0, and 1 to 2 is 1, and 1 to 3 is 1 again. And similarly for 2 and 3 it is written. Now this is what the adjacency matrix for this particular graph G1. Now this is a symmetric matrix. Now why it is a symmetric matrix? Because if you just look into the elements which are above the diagonal and which are below the diagonal, they are same. Or if I fold my matrix along this diagonal, so this one gets coincide with this one with this, there is matching. So the elements which are above the diagonal are exactly same as the elements which are below the diagonal. Next, I have another example here, which is a directed graph, and this is the adjacency matrix for this directed graph G2. Now again this is 0 and 1, 2, and this is 0, 1, 2 node numbers I am writing. And now 0 to 0, since there is no self edge or the self loop, it is 0, and 0 to 1, is there a path? Yes, 0 to 1 there exists a path, you can write this. And then 0 to 2, so 0 to 2 there is no path, there is no direct path from 0 to 2, so it is represented as 0. Now 1 to 0, so 1 to 0, yes, there is a path, it is 1, and 1 to 1 there is no self loop or self edge, it is 0, and 1 to 2 is 1, and then 2, if you just look here, so it doesn't have any outgoing edges. So since it doesn't have any outgoing edges, that means you cannot reach any other node from this node, so it is 0, 0, 0 for all. So 0 to 2, what we have is 0 to 2, what we have is 0, but still this 2 from 0 can be reached via 1. Now from 0 I know that I can go to 1, and from 1 I know that I can go to 2, so that is possible. That is all the traversal techniques which we will be discussing later. Now this is what the adjacency matrix for the graph 2. And if you just look into this, since it's a directed graph or a digraph, now the adjacency matrix is not symmetric. So see, you can this one is matching, but there is no matching one for this inside in the elements which are just below the diagonal of this particular adjacency matrix. The adjacency matrix, what we write for the directed graph, it need not be symmetric all the time, and sometimes it can be symmetric also. And similarly, we have the adjacency graph written for the graph G4 also. This is one graph G4, which is a disconnected graph. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, 6, 7, and similarly 0 to 7 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now 0 to 0, there is no self flow for self edge, 0. 0 to 1, there is a path, there exists an edge, so it is represented as 1. And then 0 to 2, again there exists an edge, represented as 1. 0 to 3, there is no path, there is no direct path, so it is represented as 0. And 0 to 4, so they totally disconnected. 0 to 4 is also we don't have any path, and since so these two are disconnected, so 0 to 5, 6, 7 is also zeros. And then similarly from 1, this is how we have written. And if I just look into this adjacency matrix, again it is a symmetric matrix. So this is the diagonal row. Now if you just look into the elements which are above the diagonal and the elements which are below the diagonal, they are exactly the same. This is what a symmetric matrix, since it is an undirected graph. Next, matrix of adjacency matrix. Okay. Now, once you write the adjacency matrix, okay, you can go for easily determining the connections of determine the connection of vertices is easy. So you can easily go for detecting the connection of the vertices. And in general, the degree of a vertex is given by this. Okay. So the degree of a vertex is the summation of all the elements from j is equal to 0 to n minus 1. And then similarly, for a digraph, for the directed graph, the row sum, if you take the sum of a row, it is the out degree, okay, and while the column sum gives you the in degree. Okay. Now this is what in degree of a vertex in a digraph is equal to what? It is the column sum, and similarly the out degree of a vertex inside a digraph is equal to the row sum. Now it is just the interchanging of what I and j. It was j and I here, and it is I and j here. Now if you go back to this example, this was the digraph. Okay. Now, and what it said was, now you take the row sum, it gives you the out degree, and you take the column sum, it gives you the in degree. Now here the row sum for 0 is how much? 1, that is the out degree for this particular node is 1, and if I take the column sum for 0, again it is 1, that means the out degree is also 1, in degree is 1 and out degree is 1. Now if I take this node, okay, see 2, for 2, say the column sum is giving you 1, so column sum is nothing but in degree, so in degree for this is 1, and when I take the row sum it is 0, that means there is no out degree for this. Okay. And then if you take a digraph, okay, undirected graph, so the degree is the summation of all the elements in a particular row. Say for example, I take 0, okay, either you can go for taking the summation of a row or a summation of a column, it should be the same since it's a symmetric matrix. Now that gives the degree of a particular node inside an undirected graph. Now degree of 0 is 2 right now. Okay. Yeah, and next is the adjacency list. Okay. Now till now we understood how to represent a graph in the form of an adjacency matrix. Next what we discuss is how do we represent the graph in the form of an adjacency list. Okay. Now, so representing a graph in the form of an adjacency list is nothing but converting each row of an adjacency matrix into a kind of a list. Okay. Now how to do that? Now this is what the implementation. Okay. So I am defining the max vertex size as 50, and then defining a structure with the node, because when I say representing the graph in the form of an adjacency list, so I require a node, because a node should contain the vertex and it should also contain the address of the next node. Okay. Type def struct node vertex and struct node star link. So vertex will hold the ID of the vertex, and the link is going to hold the address of the next node. Okay. So and initially we initialize n is equal to 0. Say for example, I got to read the number of vertices, right? So I make n as 0. Okay. Now here is the example how to represent a list, represent a graph using an adjacency list. Okay, say this is a list now, so which was earlier in the form of a matrix, now it is in the form of adjacency list. Okay, now I am taking an header node for 0. Okay, now from 0 you can see here, you can go to the node 1, you can go to the node 2, you can also go to the node 3. Now what I am doing now, I am taking 0 and to all the nodes which are adjacent to this, all the nodes from which I can reach from 0, so I am making a list. Now from 0 I start, I come to the 1, so this is a node which is having the vertex field and then the link field. And the link field here, it is holding the address of the next node, which is holding the vertex 2 and an address to the vertex 3. Okay, and last node is storing the null value. So this is the concept of singly linked list, and if you want to convert this into a circular singly linked list, instead of storing null over here, you can have a pointer back to the this node. Okay, and similarly from the node 1 you can go to 0, you can go to 2, and you can go to 3, 0, 2, 3, and similarly from the node 2 you can go to 0, 1 and 3, and from the node 3 you can go to 0, 1 and 2. So this is what is the adjacency list, so representing a graph using the adjacency list. So now this is the adjacency list for the graph G1, this is the graph G1, and for this graph this is the adjacency list. And similarly for the graph G3, this is what the graph G3 is, so which is a directed graph, you can see here. What we have here is 0, say 0 to, so from 0 you can go to 1, and that is the list, and from 1 you can go to 0 and you can go to 2. So from 1 you can go to 0, and from 0 one second, from 1 you can go to 0, and 0 you can go, and you can also reach what, 2, that is another node. Okay, and from 2 you cannot reach anything, so it is just a list with only the header, and which is holding the null. And similarly the adjacency list is also written for a disconnected graph. Okay, from 0 you can go to 1 and 2, that is what is written here. From 1 you can go to 0 and 3, that is what is written here. From 2 you can go to 0 and 3, you can see here. From 3 you can go to 1 and 2, and from 4 you can go to 5. From 5 you can go to 4 and 6. From 5 you can go to 4 and 6, and from 6 you can go to 5 and 7, and from 7 you can go to only 6. This is okay. So if I take an undirected graph with n vertices and e edges, okay, I need n head nodes. So what you can see is that this was an undirected graph, and how many header nodes were there? So the number of header nodes is equal to the number of nodes inside the undirected graph. And now how many list nodes are required? So 2e list nodes, where e is the number of edges. Now in this, how many edges are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 edges are there. Okay, and one second. So n head nodes, okay, n head nodes, and 2e list nodes. Okay, e number of edges is now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 edges are there. 2 into 6, that is equal to 12. Okay, now 3 plus 3 6, 9, 9 plus 3 12. Okay, so the number of list nodes, excluding the z nodes, okay, excluding the z nodes, the number of list nodes required is equal to 2e, that is 2 into the number of edges, so that is 12. And take this and just check it, and this is again an undirected graph with 7 nodes. You can see there are 7 head nodes and 7 head nodes, and just count the number of edges: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now 7 into 2 it is, that is equal to 14. So you should have 14 what? List nodes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. So what you have is 14 list nodes. OP people understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'll just shift from the PPT. I'll discard all these things to this one. Okay, this you have already understood, the adjacency matrix, how it is written. So wherever there is an edge from the vertex Vi to Vj, then you mark it as 1, and if there is no edge from vertex Vi to Vj, then you mark it as 0. This is what the adjacency matrix you are seeing for this undirected graph. Now, so adjacency list also you understood, okay, and what you are seeing, okay, yeah, this is the adjacency list for this undirected graph, okay. Now how it is represented? So you got to create a structure, a node. So one member to hold the vertex and one member to hold the address, okay. Yeah. Now, what do you mean by adjacency matrix and adjacency list? Give the adjacency matrix and adjacency list for the following graph. Just take this graph and try to write the adjacency matrix and the adjacency list. So this is a directed graph. Do it fast. Copy this. Doing it? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, this is another example on the adjacency matrix and adjacency list. So this is the adjacency matrix, and where we have 1 for 0 to 0 also, since it has got a cell flow for a self edge. And even in the adjacency list, you can observe that. So what this list is saying is you can reach 0 from 0. Okay, and here what this is saying is you can reach 3 from 3. Okay, now, so draw the adjacency list for the graph B1 below, which is an undirected graph, and for this you go for writing the adjacency list. Draw the adjacency list for this. So here is the adjacency list. 0, you can go to 1 and then you can go to 2. 0 to 1 and then to 2. And these are the weights of these edges. So this is a weighted undirected graph. So weighted undirected undirected graph. Okay, this is a weighted undirected graph. So and then from 1 you can go to 0 and then you can go to 4. Okay, so like this. This is the adjacency matrix. Now write an algorithm to find the in degree and out degree of a vertex in a given graph. Okay. Now how to find? So I have already explained you this one. Say the row sum gives you the out degree of a node and the column sum gives you the in degree of a node. Okay. Now you got to make use of this in order to write an algorithm to find the in degree and out degree of a given node. Okay. Now solution is here. So first what we are writing is the algorithm and then we will go for discussing the actual implementation also for this. Initialize in degree and out degree count for each node to 0. Okay. So if there are 4 nodes in the graph, so you should go for initializing each node's in degree and out degree to the 0. Okay, the initial value. Now visit each node of a graph. Okay. Count the number of incoming edges for each node and then increment the in degree count by 1 for each incoming node. Each incoming edge. This is edge. And similarly, count the number of outgoing edges for each node and then increment the out degree count by 1 on each outgoing edge. So this is the normal thing what we know. First initially you got to initialize the in degree and out degree of every node to 0 and keep visiting each node of the graph on count the number of incoming edges, and to count the number of incoming edges for a node you will be taking what? So you will be taking the column sum and to get the number of outgoing edges, okay, you will be taking the row sum. Okay, if you take the row sum, you get the outgoing edges. Okay, so now the implementation for the same. Okay, we have one function with the name in degree here, and another function with the name out degree, and one more function what we have. The main function is not here. We have written only just the functions. Okay, now what we are doing here, okay, now say when I want to find the in degree, I make a call to this in degree by passing v and then n. Okay, now here int v1 and count is equal to 0. Okay, I am initializing the count to 0. Now for v1 is equal to 0, v1 less than n, v1 plus plus. So what I am doing now is, since I am finding the in degree, now I am doing the column sum. Okay, this is what the column sum I am doing. So if a of v1 of v1 and then v is equal to 1, so I increment the count plus plus and finally return. Now what I am doing here, so you can see here, the variable which is used here is v1. So this is giving you the column, finding you the column sum, and the variable used here is v2, which is the second index, which is finding the row sum. Okay, and this finds the column sum, and this finds, so let me write, this finds the column sum, or in column sum, or else every column it will access, every element in the column is accessed and it is checking whether it is equal to 1. It is equal to 1, it is incrementing the count plus plus. Or otherwise you can also go for just, since it is represented as 1, even you can sum all the column 1 values. Okay, column 1 values, if you sum, it will give you the in degree, and row values, if you sum, it will give you the out degree. But what we are basically doing here is taking the count and incrementing this count value on whenever it is equal to 1. Okay. Next, printing the degree. Now here I am calling in degree, so I was calling in degree. So, and this loop is going to run for all the nodes. V is equal to 0, V less than, and V plus plus. For every node I am calling this. Okay. And this is the node for which V represents the node for which I want to find the in degree or out degree, and N is the total number of nodes. Okay. So I get the in degree and I get the out degree. Now if I want in general the degree of a node, I go for summing the in degree and out degree, gives you the total degree. Okay. Then I am printing separately the in degree, out degree, and in degree plus out degree for a node. OP people understood this implementation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, next, so what we have is inverse adjacency list. Okay. So this is the directed graph which we have already understood. Now this is the inverse adjacency list for it. Okay. This what you are seeing, say 0 from 0. Where is it? Yeah, from 0 you can come to 1. Okay, that is shown here. From 1 you can go to 0 and 2. Okay. Okay, sorry. From 1 you can go to 0 and you can also come to 2. See, from 1 you can go to 2, and from 1 again you can go to 0. So, but this is what is the inverse adjacency list is. But you just try to compare this list, because here there is only one node which you can reach from 0. Just look into this. All right, we will compare this with the adjacency list what we wrote, the normal adjacency list for this. Yeah, see how it is looking. From 1 we go to 0, from 0 we go to, sorry, not from 0, from 1 we can go to 2 also. Okay, from 1 you can go to 0, from 1 you can go to 2, but from 0 you take a link, the link field of 0, and then you can go to 2. This is how we represent the normal adjacency list. But in the inverse adjacency list, this is how. From 1 you can go to 2. Okay, and from 1 again, okay, so you can go to 0. So this is what here in the link field, what I have is the address of the node 1 again. Okay, now address, I go to 1, and from 1 I can again go to what? This 0. Hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Next, yeah, and this was the adjacency matrix and list representation for the following graph. So this was asked in one of the question paper, so you can just make a note of this and try to solve it later. Okay. So adjacency, this is undirected graph again. You have to write the adjacency matrix and the adjacency list for this. Okay, the normal adjacency list, it is not the inverse adjacency list. If you are asked to do the inverse adjacency list, here in the link field it should have the address of what, the starting node. Okay, something like that. So this is the matrix, adjacency matrix for this graph, and this is the adjacency list. Okay, next. Now when we add a new vertex to an existing graph, okay, now how to update the adjacency matrix? Okay, so this is what vertex insertion. Okay, any point of time to a graph you can go for inserting a new vertex. Okay, now consider this is the graph now which I have, and its equivalent adjacency matrix is this. Now I want to insert this V4. This is the new vertex which is inserted. Okay, if we insert the vertex V4 by attaching it to V3, then the graph becomes something like this. So the graph was earlier till here 3. So now this is added. You can see this row is added and this column is added. Okay, now whenever you add a new vertex to an already existing graph, so you have to add a row and a column to it. So the adjacency matrix needs to be updated, or the size of the adjacency matrix increases. It increases one along the row and one along the column. Okay, and similarly, is it possible for you to delete a vertex from the graph? Yes, it is possible. So this is an already existing graph. Okay, so and this is the equivalent adjacency matrix for it. So this is the equivalent adjacency matrix for it. Now say for example I want to delete V4. Okay, now the neighboring, when I want to delete this V4, I have to find its neighboring nodes. Now what are the neighboring nodes for V4? It is V1, V2 and V3. So the neighboring nodes vertexes for the vertex V4 is V1, V2 and V3. That is what I have found, and now I got to go for setting this, because since you are going to delete this node now, and this node was earlier reachable from V1, V2 and V3, now you have to update the adjacency matrix and make that V4 is not reachable from V1, V2 and V3. That is, so G of V4 V1 is equal to, since it is an undirected graph, it is G of V4 V1 is equal to G of V1 V4, and that should be updated to 0. And similarly, so G of V4 and V2 or G of V2 and V4 should be updated to 0, and similarly G of V4 and V3 should be updated to 0. Okay, so you can just observe now. So this is the corresponding adjacency matrix after V4 gets deleted. Okay, and this is 0, so you can also go for dropping this row and this column, but we have still maintained it, but we have updated everything to 0. Now if you just observe now, which one is that? V1 to V4, V1 to V4, it is 0. Okay, you mark it as 0, and the column or the row which is having all zeros can be later deleted. Okay, you can go for deleting it. Okay, so this is what. And then finding a vertex. Now how do we find a vertex exist within the graph? Okay, so in order to find the vertex, you need to scan the complete graph. Now how to scan? So there are two ways of doing it. One is BFS, so breadth first search. Another one is DFS, depth first search. Okay, these are the two traversal techniques for the graphs. So you understood the traversal techniques for the trees: in-order traversal, pre-order traversal and post-order traversal. And similarly, so we have these two techniques for traversing the graph. So breadth first search and then depth first search. So using these two traversal techniques, you can go for traversing all the nodes that exist within a graph, and you can check whether a node exists or not. Okay, now how to do that? And you have your 11th lab program based on this traversal techniques. Okay, BFS and DFS. And again, these two can be implemented by using a recursive technique and non-recursive technique also. Okay, so just as we understood in the tree traversal techniques, in order, pre-order and post-order traversal techniques, so we understood how to traverse the given tree in order, pre-order and post-order using the recursive traversal techniques. Similarly, so the BFS and DFS can also be done in both the ways. So what is it? Recursive traversal, recursive technique, and also through non-recursive technique. Okay, and then now edge addition. So till now you understood how to insert a vertex. When you insert a vertex, how the adjacency matrix will get changed, and then when you delete a vertex, how the adjacency matrix gets updated, and then how to find a vertex. Okay, so by using either of these two graph traversal techniques, and then edge addition, how to add a new edge. Okay, say for example I add an edge. Okay, here I am writing, enter the name of the new edge by specifying the vertices, say v1 v2. So v1 to v2, there is an already edge. Okay, now what you need to do is, so in the graph set in the matrix, so g of v1 to v2 is equal to g of v2 to v1 should be made as 1. Okay, so what we are doing now, v1 to v2, v1 to v2, we are adding an edge, so this is made as 1. Okay, oh sorry, not v1 here. Now what we are considering is v0 to v2. So v1 to v2, it's already there, v1 to v2, the path is already existing. v0 to v2, v0 to v2, this one, this is 0. Now after adding this edge, this must be updated to 1. Okay, and this graph representation is very useful when you're dealing with the links of the web pages. So you know, hypertext document, it has the links, hyperlinks from one page as hyperlink to the other page, and that in turn has hyperlink to one more page. So the best way to model the web representation is through the adjacency matrix and the graph, directed graph it is. Now edge deletion, so it is possible again when you want to delete the edge. Say for example I want to delete the edge from v2 to v3, v2 to v3. Okay, so now you can observe in this adjacency matrix v2 to v3, v2 to v3, there is 1. Now if I delete this edge, now I have to update the corresponding element in the matrix to 0. So I am here marking it to 0 because the edge is deleted. Okay, now these are the things, and in the next class we'll go for understanding the implementation part for each of these things. I think in the afternoon session I'll be going for explaining the 11th lab program, so which is based on the traversal techniques of the graph. And in the next class, after my afternoon class, in the tomorrow's class, we'll just go for looking into the implementation part for all of these things. Now, what are the implementation part for adding a new vertex? What are the implementation part for deleting a vertex from the graph? And the implementation for, so this will be understanding now, okay, in the afternoon session. And the implementation for part for adding an edge, deleting an edge. Okay, so all these things will just understand in the tomorrow's class, and in the afternoon class we'll just look into the lab program which is based on the graph traversal techniques, so BFS and DFS. So I'll explain you one or two examples, and after that examples we'll go for looking into the implementation part. Okay, so we'll stop here, and we will join again in the afternoon class, that is 3 to 4. Any doubts?
No, sir.